There are some people, and admittedly, this is a bit of a selfish question, Greg, but I feel like you're the expert to ask about this. When I talk to a lot of former coaches in the performance space and otherwise who want to put more of their work out there, but they're very nervous. I don't see myself as a brand, or I don't want to share what I know. It might be self, almost entitlement or arrogant, or as if I'm bragging. Are people distinctly different from brands themselves, or is a brand really just part of our inherent reputation? How do you look at those things differently? And if that question's not clear, I'll be happy to kind of consolidate it.
It's absolutely clear. And I see complete parallels between a company that is a brand and a human being as a brand, the brand of you, if you will. And quite frankly, I take my students, I teach, I'm the branding instructor at the University of Oregon's Graduate School of Business. And I take the students through an exercise because we spend so much time articulating the values and the traits of the brands we serve, right? So why don't we spend the same amount of time doing that exercise for the brand of us? And so I literally take people through the exercise of identifying the traits and characteristics that you want to be known for, so that when you're not in the room and your name goes up on the board, those are the associations that lie in the minds of those around you. So I think that's really important. And at the end of the day, if your pursuit is ultimately to make people better than they were the day before, then I don't think it's self-serving to put your philosophy and your methodology out there. And in fact, I would hope that more can do so. But at the end of the day, I think it's got to be in service of something bigger than yourself. That would be the biggest key.
Yeah, I think that's a critical point. And I remember in your book, you said a lot of the inspiration from the book, and I'll let you fill in the context, I don't want to rob it from you, came from your work with Colin Kaepernick during a turning point in his career as well, and in your own background. Now, I worked with Colin for about 3 years, and I remember, when I had worked with him, he had just got done shooting a commercial. This one wasn't with you guys, and I said, "Oh, Mr. Hollywood, what's that like when you do that?" And he goes, "Man, I don't really like that stuff. That stuff's not really me." And it's funny that you hear people say that a lot. "Oh, that's not really me," as if there's some people that it is just for, I wonder whether it's him or any other stories, and your book's replete with them. When you do work with an individual that maybe doesn't see themselves as a brand, or maybe they doubt their message or the gravitas, the weight of their purpose and how it can really be inclusive to others, how do you tease that out of them? Meaning, how do you get them to understand, hey, I understand this might be uncomfortable for you, but there is a message here and it can impact people. And if it's not a message, it's a perspective. Come along with me and let's go through this journey together.
Yeah. Great question. Part of the role when you're trying to achieve that level of storytelling, or the type of work that resonates in a way that's so deep that it causes people to act collectively, right? Is that in the beginning of that creative process, with those athletes working together, you have to find a deeper truth or insight beyond what we can all see on the surface, right? Because ultimately, if you're just saying, like in the case of athletics, Cristiano Ronaldo is fast, and you're expecting off of that simple, obvious insight to create some brand defining work, it's not going to happen, right? You need to go deeper, right? To reveal something that maybe people have thought about, but when you reveal it in a profound way, they say, wow, now that you've said that, I want to come with you on that journey. And so, and that's why I always use my favorite commercial of all time, Michael Jordan's failure commercial. The fact that people spent the time with Michael early on in the process to discover that he had missed 9,000 shots in his career, and 26 times he had missed the game-winning shot, but because of failing over and over again, that's why he succeeds.
Right.
And so when I talk about, back to the point of maybe some reluctance in the beginning, when you spend enough time with an athlete or your subject, whether it's an individual, a community, or a city, and you get to that point where you have something that's so rich, and then you reveal it to the world with all your creativity, that's the kind of deep commitment to empathy, if you will, in the process to get under the skin or the surface. And then when you start to create work like that, then you develop the trust and people open up a bit more because they understand by giving more of themselves, it's going to lead to, more real and honest kind of representation of who they are.